all have an idea of that crazy ex type of person who just can't move on from a breakup. For the most part, their behavior is just infuriating. They keep texting you, stalking your social media, posting so many pictures on Instagram and Facebook to prove they are so doing great. Sometimes these type of behavior should not be ignored. The case of Jodi Arias is possible proof of this. Jodi fell madly in love with a guy who didn't feel the same way. She decided that Travis must be with her and no one else. This is the case of Jodi Arias and Travis Alexander. Jodi was born on July 9, 1980 in Salinas, California. She grew up with her parents, William Angelo and Sandy Arias, and 4 siblings. Jodi was the second eldest. There was nothing special about her childhood, which is quite strange in these cases. We usually hear of criminals coming from horrible homes where their parents overly scolded them and they never felt loved. However, Jodi will later swear that her family's life was far from perfect. She stated that her parents often used corporal punishment and it only got worse as she got older. Allegedly, her mom would carry a wooden spoon in her purse so she could punish Jodi anytime she felt like it. These claims have been denied by family members, especially Jodi's mom.
You need some help, Jodi. I said, you've got this fantasy in your head that you had a rotten childhood and that we searched your room all the time and we did all this stuff and we didn't. And you need some help. I said, because that didn't happen.
Jodi developed a passion for photography during her teenage years and dropped out of high school in the 11th grade to follow her dream in photography. Of course, things didn't quite go as planned for the young lady and her dreams eventually faded. Jodi had to take a job as a waitress, but she never lost her passion for photography, and we will see that later on. At the age of 21, Jodi was working in a restaurant in Carmel, where she met her first long-term boyfriend, Daryl Brewer. He was 40 when he and Jodi started dating, but after a casual fling, things became more serious between them, and in 2005, they bought a home together. The charismatic salesman, Travis Alexander Jarvis, was born in Riverside, California, on July the 28th, 1977. After his father died in 1997, he moved into his grandmother's house with his 7 siblings, and around this time, he was introduced to the Latter-day Saints of Jesus Christ and became a Mormon. Moving into his 30s, he became a salesman and motivational speaker for Prepaid Legal, a multinational marketing company based in Mesa, Arizona. In February 2006, Jodi started a new job as a salesperson at Prepaid Legal. It was through this company that the two crossed paths on September 2006 on a business conference to Las Vegas, Nevada. It didn't take long for them to get close and for her relationship with Daryl to crumble. When they met, the two instantly hit it off and Jodi became love-struck with Travis. Following their encounter, the two spoke on the phone every day. They started exchanging thousands of emails and a total of over 80,000 in 5 months. Travis was a Mormon, so it meant that he could only date others in his faith. Jodi acknowledged this rule and converted to the Church of Christ of Latter-day Saints and was baptized by Travis in November 2006. After that, Travis and Jodi officially began dating in February 2007, and the two seemed to be happy. Many of Travis's friends were unsure of Jodi. She was quite possessive and big on PDA, which made Travis and his friends super uncomfortable. It absolutely seemed like she was trying to mark her territory. But after only 5 months, Travis cut the relationship with Jodi. The two ended their romantic affairs in June of 2007, but kept the physical relationship going. It's been reported that Jodi was way more into Travis than he was into her, but he didn't want to give up the physical chemistry. Friends have reported that Travis felt guilty of breaking his vows on celibacy with Jodi. This is one of the main roles in the church, and as Travis was very invested in his faith, this made him question his own morality. However, it also meant Jodi was no longer wife material. Despite his refusal to end their physical relationship, Travis knew he had no future with Jodi. After the breakup, Jodi, however, moved to Mesa, Arizona, just a few blocks away from Travis's home, to be closer to him. Their friendship then became more complex. Although they weren't romantically together, they were still sexually active. You know, the no strings attached type of relationship. Throughout the next year, they carried out their no strings attached relationship. This came with a long list of inconvenience for the two. Jodi will sometimes show up in the middle of the night unannounced, and Travis would show interest in other women, which of course made Jodi jealous. The two would constantly argue with one another on what they want from each other. In December 2007, Travis started dating somebody new, and this did not sit well with Jodi. She sent Travis's new girlfriend anonymous threatening emails and slashed the tires of Travis's car twice after their breakup. Travis snuck into his house through the back door to avoid any confrontations from Jodi. Despite this, they continued to see each other in secret. They exchanged flirty texts and emails, a lot of which gave very mixed signals about the condition of their relationship, especially from Travis. Things started to turn sour, and his friends also made it clear to him that his relationship with Jodi was not a healthy one. This advice was coming from a place of genuine concern. The way Jodi treated Travis was unlike anything any of them had ever seen before. In May 2008, Travis and Jodi got into a huge fight because Travis believed she tried to break into his Facebook account. They exchanged a number of harsh texts before Travis told her to stay out of his life. April 2008, Jodi moved back to California to live with her grandparents, but she was still emotionally invested in Travis. At the beginning of June, Travis was scheduled to go on an all-expense-paid trip to Cancun, Mexico, for work. He was told to bring a friend with him, and he didn't choose Jodi. Instead, he invited a woman named Mimi, who he was trying to start a relationship with. Jodi was outraged to say the least, but no one knew she was already plotting something unspeakable. The date was June 4th. 2008. Travis had a conference call that morning but wasn't returning any calls or messages to his friends or colleagues. As the time went by, they were still unable to reach him. His friends got worried and finally went to his house 5 days later, which was 9th June 2008. Travis's roommate was around when they arrived, but he believed that Travis was out of town because his bedroom door had been locked for a few days. They eventually found their way into his bedroom to a gruesome scene. There was blood everywhere. They found Travis Alexander's body in the shower. He had 27 stab wounds, a bullet in the head, and his throat was slashed. Travis's friends ran out of his room and called the police.
What's going on?
A friend of ours is dead in his bedroom. We hadn't heard from him for a while. We think he's dead. His roommate just went in there and said there's lots of blood. I didn't go in, but I can give you the phone to someone who went in there.
Yes, please, can you?
Hello.
Hi, so what's going on?
He's dead. He's in his bedroom.
Okay.
In the shower.
Okay. How did this happen? Do you have any idea?
No, we have no idea. Everyone's been wondering about him for a few days.
She said that there was blood. So is it coming from his head? Did he cut his head?
It's all over the place.
Has he been threatened by anyone recently?
Yes, he has. Okay. He has an ex-girlfriend that's been bothering him and following him and slashing tires and things like that.
And do you know the ex-girlfriend's name?
Her name is Jodi.
And everyone is out of the house. There's no one else in the house.
No one's in the house.
Okay. What is your name?
My name is Michelle. I'm giving the phone to me.
Okay. And this is, okay, the tub is in his bedroom?
Yeah, and I guess I didn't go in, but from what I heard, his roommate went in. There's blood in his bedroom behind the door. and then he said it's all over, and then they went in the bathroom and he's in his shower.
Okay.
So,
And
In the call to 911, Travis's friends were asked if they had any idea of who could have done this to him. They almost immediately brought up Jodi's name. On June 2nd, Jodi rented a car and drove to Travis's apartment, completely out of the blue. However, instead of sending her home, again, he invited her in, and for some reason, Jodi had her camera with her. That afternoon, they took scandalous pictures of each other. The pictures were later used as evidence against Jodi. Jodi loved photography, so she had to document the most important moments of her life. This is the last photo ever taken of Travis alive. Jodi took these pictures moments before she ended his life. After friends discovered Travis's body and contacted the police on June 9th, police contacted Jodi later that day. She told police she hadn't seen Travis since April earlier that year, but when detectives started to look at Jodi as a potential suspect, things got really interesting really quick. Detectives learned that on June 2nd, Jodi rented a car from Redding, California. A digital camera was also found in the washing machine. Someone had attempted to destroy it. Although images were deleted from the camera, the police were still able to retrieve them. What they discovered was Jodi and Travis's picture in sexually suggestive poses. The date stamp for these images were approximately 1 p.m. The last photo of Travis Alexander alive was taken in the shower at approximately 5:29 p.m. The next image was accidentally taken when Jodi kicked the camera across the bathroom floor. Oopsie. It shows Travis heavily bleeding on the floor. The shoes of the potential assailant was also captured in front of his body. This would later be confirmed to match Jodi's shoes. It was during this moment that Travis was surely receiving 27 stab wounds, a bullet to the head, and a slash to his throat. On May 28th, Jodi's grandparents reported to the police a burglary in which Jodi was living at the place at the time. Multiple objects were taken, and amongst them was a .25 caliber pistol. This was never recovered, but a spent .25 caliber pistol round was found at the crime scene, next to Travis's body. The bullet found by the body will match the specifications of the pistol that went missing back in Jodi's grandparents' house. The assailant attempted to clean the crime scene to remove any incriminating evidence, but there was an oversight. A bloody handprint on the wall was not cleaned. DNA will later reveal that the handprint consisted of both Travis's and Jodi's DNA. So at this point, they were now pretty sure the assailant was Jodi Arias. After murdering Travis and partially cleaning the crime scene, Jodi then drove off to Arizona, into the desert towards Utah. She was going there to create an alibi for the time and to meet her new boyfriend, Ryan Burns. She then left a voice message for Travis for the purpose of putting herself away from the crime scene.
I know Leslie called you, so I already talked to her, so you can call her back if you want, but it's not necessary. My phone died, so I wasn't getting back to anybody. And what else? Oh, and I drove 100 miles in the wrong direction, over 100 miles, thank you very much. So yeah, remember New Mexico? It was a lot like that, only you weren't here to prevent me from going into the 3 digits, so fun. Tell you all about that later. Also, we were talking about, when we were talking about your upcoming travels my way, I was looking at the May calendar, so I'm all confused. But Heather and I are going to see Othello on July 1st, and we would love for you to accompany us. Let me know, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
When Jodi arrived in Utah, both Ryan and friends of Ryan that Jodi met noticed that she wore bandages on her hands. She told Ryan that the cut on her hands was from her job as a pizza chef at Margaritaville back at home. Also, when Ryan tried to search for this place on Google, no results came up. Authorities would also confirm that a restaurant with that name has never existed in the States before. On 21st June 2008, Travis's funeral was held at the Wood Memorial Park. On 9th July 2008, which was Jodi's 29th birthday, the grand jury indicted her with first-degree homicide charges. She was arrested 6 days later on 15th July at her grandmother's house. After her arrest, she was interrogated by detectives for 2 days. On the first day, she denied being at Travis's house that day and stuck to her story of not seeing Travis since April. The interrogation went on for over 2 hours. During this time, Jodi was behaving very strange.
If I'm found guilty, I don't have a life. I'm not guilty. I didn't hurt Travis. If I hurt Travis, if I killed Travis, I would beg for the death penalty.
She was then taken to the county jail after the interrogation. She came in the next day for her second interrogation. This is when she changed her story. This time, she was actually there when Travis was murdered. Not by herself, but by two masked criminals who broke into Travis's apartment when they were both in the shower. She said they took her ID and threatened her not to talk to the police.
Shower and the sink is over here. I was like right here taking pictures. And I don't really know what happened after that exactly, except I think he was shot.
Where were you?
If this is his shower, and he's sitting here, I was like, well, if this is his shower, and he's sitting here, I was like right here on my knees, and his bathtub is right here, and I was taking him here, and I was just going through the pictures, and I heard this loud ring. And I don't really remember except Travis was screaming. I think I got knocked out, but I don't think it was that long. And there were two people there, and
What'd you say?
I remember putting my hand on his back because he was on all four of his knees. Travis was screaming the whole time. He wasn't screaming like a girl, he was just like he was in pain, like he was like shocked, like, oh, he said, you need to leave, and don't you call anybody?
If she does, they would come after her and her family next. Jodi pled not guilty to charges, which meant she was going to trial.
Don't roll the tape yet.
Jodi, how did you meet Travis and when?
We met at the Rainforest Cafe in the MGM Grand in Las Vegas.
How long ago was that?
That was in September of 2006. I know that I'm innocent. God knows I'm innocent. Travis knows I'm innocent.
The first question I want to ask you is, why agree to do an interview before you even know what your sentence is?
Well,
She went on to give interviews upon interviews before her trial. It wasn't just the public that found her behavior bizarre, but the production teams she worked with on her interviews were also weirded out. She stuck with the assassination squad story throughout her interviews and agreed to every media request that came her way. She was trying to come across as the innocent girl next door, but she actually looked like a terrifying psycho.
Who could have done this to him?
I don't know.
Who do you think killed him?
I have no idea.
Jodi, you're pretty calm sitting here. How are you managing to stay so calm?
Through my faith and through the knowledge of my own innocence. That's the only thing. I would be shaking in my boots right now if I had to answer to God for such a heinous crime.
Jodi Arias killed Travis Alexander.
Really?
There is no question about it.
This was Jodi's defense team's opening statement on the first day of trial. The trial began 4 years, 6 months after Travis's death, on July 2nd, 2013. Jodi changed her story yet again. This time, Travis was a horrible, aggressive man who would harm Jodi dozens of times during their relationship.
There's a different story now. Now, it's not that she wasn't there. Now, it's not that it's two people with whatever variation she may have provided to these national shows. Now, she admits it. It was her. She's the person who actually did this. She has everything in this case points to the fact that it did not happen. There are no medical reports, there are no friends, there is no one that can come in and say anything about that. There are no medical records, there is absolutely nothing.
She alleged that after dropping the camera in the shower, he reacted violently and she had no choice but to defend herself. But her story was still not adding up. The prosecutor pointed out that Jodi's version of events was not consistent with the timestamps on the camera. The tragedy happened within a minute, and the fact that Travis attacked her first for her to look for a gun and then look for a knife to stab and slash him was absurd. When she was confronted by the prosecutor about her inconsistent story, she said she could not remember what happened after she shot at him. On May 7, 2013, Jodi was found guilty of first-degree homicide.
Well, the worst outcome for me would be natural life. I would much rather die a lot sooner than later. Longevity runs in my family, and I don't want to spend the rest of my natural life in one place.
So you're saying you actually prefer getting the death penalty to being in prison for life?
Yes.
Jodi decided she no longer wanted the capital punishment and presented to the court all the charitable work she had done during her life as a free woman.
And I think that by asking for death, I'm only going to cause more pain to my family, since nobody believes what I'm saying anyway.
You said it right there, no one believes a word out of your mouth. Why do you keep talking?
Because I know that I've lied before. That doesn't mean that I'm a liar by definition, by character.
But now, instead of a gun, instead of a knife, she uses lies. This is an individual who is manipulative. This is an individual who will stop at nothing.
She was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Travis's family were heartbroken. That brings us to the end of the case of Travis and his crazy ex-girlfriend. You could have just walked away, Jodi. This was so unnecessary. Thank you so much for watching this video today by Novi Briefs. If you like this case and want more videos like this, please stick around by hitting the subscribe button and liking this video. As always, I can't wait to see what you guys have to say down in the comments below. Thank you once again, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Goodbye.